What's up, Y2? It's your boy Wes, the artist. Today I'm here to just have a discussion, kind of politic with y'all. And first and foremost, I'm gonna be speaking solely from my perspective. I'm gonna give you guys some metaphors, some insight, all from my perspective. Nothing relating to a celebrity or anyone else on YouTube or anything in that nature. But today's topic, from my perspective, is gonna be I believe that greed is the leading sin of all sins. And we're gonna solely speak from my perspective because there's many levels of greeds, and as humans, sometimes we don't really realize the moments of greed or the buildup of greed or the level of greed that we may be in. For instance, like I might give you an example. Growing up, I was an athlete. I spent a lot of time focused on basketball, and now as I grew out of basketball, I got into music. But I'm gonna give you perspectives from both of those, dreams or goals that I was trying to acquire. Like when I first started playing basketball, in all honesty, I just love the sport. I would say it was my older cousin that kind of introduced me to basketball by force. But originally, everybody that starts playing basketball, unless you come from like a basketball family, a lineage of NBA players, you start out playing this sport because you love the sport, man. And at some point, you develop and you get better, and that's a basic level of greed because greed can motivate you to want more success. You get what I'm saying? So as like a developing athlete, once you get better, man, you get like a sense of wanting to be somebody. Then you start to model yourself after maybe LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, because that was my perspective. I wanted to be like Kobe Bryant. But back then, let's say somebody came up to me and was like, yo, bro, you could never be Kobe Bryant. I might have told him like, man, this guy's hated, man. This guy's a hater. But in reality, my greed kind of blocked the vision of accepting the truth in that moment. Like, yeah, he's right. I could never be Kobe Bryant. I might be able to replicate his actions in a sense, but God only made one Kobe Bryant. Why can't I try to be the best YS I could be? But the greed to want more success and to reach a higher level doesn't it allow you to kind of understand and hear that. And sometimes, it creates like a false trajectory of where you should be. So, let's reverse that situation. Let's say, that same situation played out. Somebody like, you can never be Kobe Bryant. And I took it and ran with it to the house and was like, I thought about it. And was like, he's right. I could never be Kobe Bryant. So that could have changed my trajectory of wanting to go to the NBA. You know, that could have changed my trajectory of feeling like, oh, I didn't make it to the NBA, so basketball is not nothing important to me no more. Because there's a lot of guys who play college ball and they ain't make it to the league and they give up basketball because that greed has them wired to the point where it's like, man, playing college is not enough for them to be content, or why can't they be the next Michael Jordan or be the starter on a team, and all of this is from my perspective though, because I got a homie, man. Me and my homie, we clown a lot, and we was having a conversation. I think it was a big contract, might have been like probably last year, earlier in the year, something. Somebody got a big contract, and we was talking about how of course you got to get a big contract. He's the name of the brand and the name of the team, face of the team, that whatever, and he asked me, he was like, yeah, bro, how you would feel if you was on a team with him and he got that much bread. And I told bro, in reality, because I've come to face with my greed. I told bro, in reality, bro, if you put me on a team and I, I'm sitting on the bench but I'm getting paid, I'll be the best player in the practice squad. At practice, that's my game, you know, because there's a lot of people in that position who don't realize, like, dang, man, I'm really here. I'm really doing something big that probably guys might not even ever be able to get to do in their lifetime. But I'm unable to see that because it's too much greed that makes me want to be the next big thing or the next big name. So that's just basic levels though. That's like the basic level to want more, to want to be more successful, to be a name. But you know, the question now is, at what point do you start to realize that greed has taken over you, or you know, you gotta be different or whatsoever. And what I mean by that is like, now that I realize that, I should have changed my whole focus. But I didn't know that earlier on. I was young. Now I'm older now. You know what I mean? I'm not chasing basketball no more, but basketball is still a thing I could do. If I put the greed aside of not being in the NBA or not being the next LeBron or the next Kobe, I could be happy enough to go and play on a professional team, you know? And, I say that to say this because, as humans, bro, we never have a certain perspective of where happiness might be. I'm going to give you an example of that, still relating to, let's relate it to YouTube. Because in reality, bro, I was an artist first. I wanted to do music. Now, the 36 people that follow me, man, I greatly appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And, that was a helping hand from, my inspiration to even be on YouTube. But, originally I'm an artist. I wanted to, I generally, in my heart, believe I'm the greatest artist in the world. Everybody that's doing something is supposed to feel like that in whatever they're doing. But when I first started doing music, it was like my uncle was the big influence for doing music, but it was like I didn't really jump into it right away. I kind of was hesitant because I didn't know what people was gonna think of me because I used to hoop. Now I'm doing music. It's a big perspective, but the reason I'm telling y'all that is originally when I first dropped my first song, bro, it was shocking. It was almost like, dang, I could really do this, But then as time goes on, the passion of why you start something might change. So when I started doing music, bro, I wasn't trying to be the next Michael Jackson, the next Lil Baby, the next Future. I just like, dang, what I created. I like what I put out. I like the fact that I could come together and create such a melody or whatsoever, But once again, once the greed kicks in, you want to be known. You know what I'm saying? You want to be known locally. Once you're known locally, you might want to be known statewide. Now, you might want Emmys and awards, but as my music career progress, I start to really realize, like, nah, man, greed is really the leading sense to all sins, because it's a lot happening around you. Like, for instance, you might start out small and then you start popping because people feeling your tracks or whatsoever. There's like a greed about that because now people want to be around you because of the clout, you know? But then that greed that they have feeds your greed to thinking, you might be bigger than what you are, or, you could be the next Lil Baby, you know what I mean? Or you could be the next Future or whatsoever. But like I said, it creates like a false trajectory, because during that time, I ain't gonna lie, we was doing our thing. We had like a little crew, guys was making noise over here, but then you start to see people change, people that really genuinely were not how they were before, they got a little buzz, or they might start getting a little money, you know what I mean? Or they might start getting girls now, because before the buzz and the money, not everybody getting girls, only the real snipers. But I throw that in there because those are all the things that might feed a person's greed to be arrogant now, or to be disrespectful because they're having. So while doing the music, it kind of like came to like a point where it was like a big point where things was really moving, bruh. Things was really moving, but then everybody around just was showing their true intent from their perspective of greed. I had people that you never thought would flip on you, but they would flip on you in the moment of trying to get a position, because it felt like, hey, they would make them bigger than what they was, But I really get on here to say, man, as a person, you got to be able to realize what level of greed you're having, why you're having that level of greed, because greed can lead you to want to kill somebody. Greed can lead you to lying, to stealing. To a lot of heinous acts can come from greed. Greed can lead you to being jealous of an individual. So whatever it is that you're out there doing, whether you do content, whether you box, whether you a hooper, you play football, the question I gotta ask to you is like, what's the limit to your greed? And that is a good question. It's like I ask you that, like as a YouTuber right now, bro, getting subscribers is the toughest thing on here. I ain't gonna lie, you know. But I can sit here and say to y'all right now, bro, I am not trying to be the biggest YouTuber on here. That is not my level of greed. I would just like to have a decent audience that's following me that I could connect to, relate to, and have good talks, entertainment, so forth, so on. But there's people that get on here, their intent is not to be the biggest YouTuber on here, but when they get on here, they get popping. They get, thousands. Now they want to be the biggest YouTuber. Now 3 million is not enough, you heard? Like, they need to have 81 million. Then you start to ask, like, okay, somebody like that at 81 million, when do they be happy? Are they going to be happy at 200 million? Nah, they're going to want more millions. That's why I ask, what is your limit on greed? Like, because greed can make you want more. Greed can make you want to take somebody's stuff. Greed can make you want somebody's life. Like, talking to y'all right now, bro, I'm ecstatic. I got like 30-something followers, bro. Because then I can really push the message I want to push. The first things was for entertainment. Now this right here is a prime level because people give up their soul for greed. People give up their dignity for greed. Some people sacrifice their character for greed. So what is your limit of greed? You know what I mean? What is your limit of greed? You got to be able to figure that out. And as an artist, I'll be honest, bro, I haven't been productive. This just to give you some insight on the music. I love the music, but I walked away from the music because of the greed that it showed me from individuals around, the greed I might have as an artist, or what it makes you want to do. So I walked away from that. So now that I can step back and see it, it's like I haven't really produced much, like, or been really invested in it because my approach now is way different. And that being said, man, before I walked away, I say I had like I didn't have no NBA YoungBoy following on Spotify and then like that. You know what I mean? Or Uzi Vert, none of that, because I don't want that. But I would say for like someone who was kind of dropping consistently, I had a decent following only in like the 60 on Spotify, which is good. Now you might look at me like, man, this dude a lame, man. He was happy he had 60 followers on Spotify. But me and you don't have the same greed. You might be mad you got 60 people on Spotify. I see 60 people on my Spotify. That's great. I'm happy. That was not, wanting to mess with the music. Now I went back on there. I see I got like 20 subscribers on listeners on Spotify. I'm like, man, what? I'm happy. I ain't dropped music for these folks in about 3 to 4 years. The fact that they still tuned in with me and still down with the channel, I'm happy. Another artist might look at that like, man, what? I'm falling off, dog. Like, I went from 60 now, only got 20, bro. What? But you haven't dropped in 4 years. So greed can really blind you, man. It could really blind you. It could really have you not seeing where your happiness starts or where you will be happy. Like, that's the most thing you gotta determine, because as human nature, as humans, bro, we always gonna want more regardless. You always gonna want more. When you get some new shoes, you go to the mall, you gonna see, look, man, some shoes you wanna get that day. But are you happy with the shoes at home enough to not get the shoes that day or not want them? So what is your limit, man? Like, I used to get on here and I'd be happy when I had like 5 subscribers, bruh. I made a post about it. Like, I was happy. I was genuinely happy. Because once you start to realize appreciating what's right in front of you is the best, then appreciating what you have projected ahead. Not to say you can't have goals, but like when you cross off your goal, actually bask in that moment. Like, yeah, man, like, dog, I really made it here. Of course, you want to get to the next level of life, but dog, I really made it here. Like, dang, I did it. You know what I mean? That way, you don't feel like, yo, I need more, I need more, I need more. So you guys got to figure out what's your limit on greed. Like, when I say that, like, at what level and whatever you're doing, are you gonna decide I am happy? Because if we look at the one percenters, bro, you would think people that have billions and billions and billions of dollars wouldn't need more dollars. They want more. You feel me? So that's like a genuine question, because that question right there leads to all the other sins. Being greed leads to all the other sins when you wrap it around. It leads to you wanting to rob, you wanting to steal, you wanting to kill, you wanting to take advantage of somebody that says no. It leads to everything. You know, it leads to everything, man. So, ask yourself out there, like, what's your limit on greed? I'm happy right now. I'm happy I got 36 people that tune in and watch me. I'm happy if you come to the channel, bro. You like, man, I like what he talking about, but I don't really want to subscribe. I appreciate that. I had another channel. People was like, oh man, I sell cars in my other channel, but dude was like, man, hopefully you gave this guy the car for nothing less. You know what I mean? Now, I could have been like upset about that, but I'm like, man, thank you, brother, for your comment. I'm happy you comment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever you doing out there, wherever you at in life, start having a acceptance with what you got, in the sense of, like, of course I'm gonna get better, but whatever I got right now, I'm appreciative, I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm geeked, because then that's how you get blessed more. That's how you stop yourself from going insane, and stop yourself from feeling like, look, I ain't doing enough, or I should be here, but I'm not. Enjoy where you're at. Figure out, hey, thank you, God, for putting me in this position. I know I can get to more, but I appreciate where I'm at right now, because greed takes you over, man. Greed will take you over. A lot of people have friends. I'm sure you guys have seen it from, you being down with certain friends when they're not having, to when they're having, and how the personality of the person might change, their behavior might change, how they treat others might change. Those are all effects of greed, you know. So as people, it's important for everyone to ask themselves that question, man. What's your limit on greed? What's your level on your limit of greed? Because you don't want to have no limit on greed and you get to, like, the worst phase of greed, where you trying to unalive somebody because you're being driven by a form of greed that you can't recognize. And it took me a while to recognize that. Like, even when I started selling drugs, in a sense, it was like you start just trying to make money. Guys is out there that's trapping. Then you flip it around to one to be the best trapper, the most known trapper. You know what I mean? But you kind of lost sight of the purpose of why you started trapping. I'm giving y'all different examples because you could really relate it to a lot. That's why you see a lot of kingpins or big guys. They never get out of there because they ain't had no limit on greed. There was no levels on greed. They didn't realize the levels of which greed had them on. You got to realize that as a person, man. And I hope this conversation really kind of opens people's perspective. This is all from my perspective. I did music and I trapped before, played sports. So I try to give you guys analysis to kind of wrap it all around. What's your limit on greed?